Everyone thinks Eren Yeager lost his mind. But what if the real truth is far more terrifying? What if his so-called madness was actually the only logical move left? Behind the bloodshed lies a hidden strategy, one rooted in real-world game theory, used by war generals and world leaders. And once you understand it, you'll realize Eren didn't lose his way. He mastered the game. They were born into a cage, walls that promised safety, but delivered fear. A society fed on lies, locked in a war they didn't start, against enemies they barely understood. This is the world Eren Yeager inherited. A world defined by cycles of violence, where peace was just the space between bloodshed. From the Titans to Marley, from Marley to the world, every faction played its part in a brutal, never-ending game of survival. And for a while, the Survey Corps believed they could break the cycle. They dreamed of diplomacy, of negotiation. But the moment the truth was revealed, that they were just devils to the rest of the world, every door to peace slammed shut. Eren saw it first, that this wasn't a war of ideology, it was a war of extermination. And in that kind of war, mercy is a weakness. Now, this might sound extreme, but history tells us it's not new. During the Cold War, global superpowers lived under the shadow of annihilation. One wrong move, one misread signal, and the world would vanish in a mushroom cloud. Leaders weren't making choices. They were surviving a rigged game. And often, the most dangerous decisions were also the most rational ones. Just like Eren, because when every system is stacked against you, when even existence is branded a crime, what kind of decision is left? What happens when a world leaves you no safe option? Stay tuned to discover the strategic principles at work. With no peaceful avenue in sight, Eren was forced to choose the ultimate sacrifice. But why was it his only move? In the unforgiving world Eren inhabits, every decision carries weight, much like in the strategic realm of game theory. At its core, game theory examines how individuals make choices when the outcome depends not just on their own actions, but also on the actions of others. One pivotal concept within this theory is the Nash equilibrium. Imagine a scenario where all players have chosen a strategy, and no one can benefit by changing their own course, while the others keep theirs unchanged. This balance point means that each player's strategy is optimal, given the strategies of the others. It's a state where everyone is doing the best they can, considering the decisions of their counterparts. Another critical principle is mutually assured destruction, often abbreviated as MAD. This doctrine emerged prominently during the Cold War, positing that if two opposing sides were to use nuclear weapons, it would lead to the complete annihilation of both the attacker and the defender. The sheer horror of this guaranteed mutual destruction acted as a deterrent, preventing either side from initiating a strike. These concepts aren't just relics of history or abstract theories. They mirror the high-stakes decisions we encounter in our own lives, whether navigating business negotiations, personal relationships, or moral dilemmas. Understanding the delicate balance of strategy and consequence is crucial. Sometimes the only rational move is one that acknowledges and accepts significant risks to avert even greater losses. Ever wondered how these high-stakes games mirror the decisions we make every day? Let's peel back another layer. If you think this is just theory, wait until we break down Eren's move-by-move strategy. Eren's strategy wasn't impulsive. It was a sequence of deliberate moves grounded in game theory. Let's break them down one by one. Move 1. The setup. Eren begins by narrowing the path forward, eliminating alternative futures. By revealing his true intentions only at the last moment, he forces Marley, and eventually the entire world, into a corner. This is a classic preemptive strategy, similar to Cold War tactics where a show of overwhelming force was used to destabilize the opponent's calculations. It's a strategy designed not to win through persuasion, but through inevitability. Move 2. The calculated sacrifice. Eren's most controversial move, the rumbling, isn't just destruction, it's deterrence. A brutal echo of mutually assured destruction, where the only way to prevent annihilation is to demonstrate your willingness to cause it. This mirrors the Cuban Missile Crisis, when both the US and the Soviet Union inched dangerously close to global catastrophe, yet held back only by the certainty that mutual destruction was guaranteed. Move 3. The final gambit. Eren knows he will be seen as the villain. He embraces that role to create a unified enemy, himself. His death becomes the symbol of a new peace. It's a sacrifice not just of his life, but of his legacy. In strategic terms, he plays the ultimate zero-sum game, trading himself to reset the board for everyone else. In life, when cornered, the strategy isn't always about avoiding loss. It's about choosing the lesser evil to prevent total collapse. And this pattern, sacrifice, inevitability, flawed systems, raises a bigger question. If Eren's world demanded such a brutal solution, then why do so many other heroes fail to change their broken systems? If you've ever wondered why Naruto, despite all his ideals, couldn't fix the shinobi system, you need to check out our breakdown of his failure to change Konoha. It's a perfect contrast to Eren's unflinching strategy. Think you understand Eren's moves now? There's a deeper moral dimension that turns this analysis on its head. Let's explore that next. When logic meets morality, things get messy. What is the true price of playing a game with no rules? Eren's decisions weren't just strategic, they were morally catastrophic. But here's the question: can a decision be right, even when it feels entirely wrong? Let's talk about the moral cost. Eren chose a path that led to the deaths of millions. He became the monster to stop a cycle of hatred that no one else could. Strategically, he cornered the world. But ethically, he obliterated the line between savior and destroyer. And that's not unique to fiction. Real-world leaders throughout history have faced similar crossroads. Think of the decision to drop the atomic bomb in World War II. It ended a war, but at what human cost? Was that the lesser evil or a failure of moral imagination? Eren's logic aligns with that of real wartime commanders who made decisions knowing innocence would suffer, but believed the alternative was worse. This is the tragic paradox of leadership. The higher the stakes, the darker the choices. Now, let's go deeper, into the psychological toll. Cognitive dissonance sets in when someone holds two conflicting beliefs. Eren believed in freedom, but chose mass destruction. This contradiction would break most people, and yet he carried that burden in silence, fully aware that he would be hated and erased from memory, not as a hero, but as a necessary evil. This isn't just about strategy, it's about psychology under pressure. History remembers leaders like Lincoln, Churchill, or Truman, who made decisions that tore them apart internally, yet shaped the course of nations. Their strength wasn't in righteousness, it was in their ability to act when every option led to blood. Understanding the morality behind high-stakes decisions helps us see that true leadership sometimes means making choices no one wants to make. So, are we condemning Eren too harshly? Or are we failing to recognize the strategic genius beneath the despair? Keep watching, because the final lesson in this story isn't just about titans or tactics. It's about us, the real world, the decisions we all face when everything around us begins to fall apart. So what can we actually learn from all of this? Let's break it down. Eren's world was a no-win game, a situation where every path led to pain. And through the lens of game theory, his choices start to make chilling sense. He wasn't playing to win. He was playing to prevent total annihilation, even if that meant becoming the villain of his own story. This is the cold logic of survival. The kind that doesn't offer a perfect answer, just the least catastrophic one. And here's the real-world takeaway. The next time you're cornered, whether it's a high-stakes decision in business, a personal dilemma, or even a moral crossroads, don't look for the perfect move. Sometimes, all you can do is choose the action that reduces long-term damage, even if it hurts in the short term. That's not failure, that's strategy. Whether it's Cold War politics, military leadership, or managing a crisis, the lesson is clear. The bravest decisions often come with the heaviest price. And that price? It's the cost of clarity and chaos. If this fusion of anime storytelling and real-world strategy has shifted the way you see characters, and maybe even the choices you make sure you hit subscribe. This is just one chapter in a bigger conversation about the philosophy of power, leadership, and sacrifice. Because before you go, there's still one final secret about Eren's sacrifice, and it changes everything. Eren's final decision might shock you, but when you strip away emotion and look at it through the cold lens of strategy, it reveals a brutal truth. In a world with no perfect choices, sometimes the only option left is the one that costs everything, yet offers the only real chance at change. And that's the haunting brilliance of game theory. If this video opened your eyes, there's more. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Eren Yeager's strategy, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more game-changing anime analysis. We break down the philosophy, strategy, and psychology behind your favorite characters. Join the conversation, and let's dive deeper into these epic stories together.